In this step, let's talk about my favorite topic of service API design. I generally use REST API for designing my services, but it's up to you. If you are comfortable in using SOAP API, go for it. And you should segregate the API based on the features. So for example, if you're building an e-commerce website, some of the key features can be showing a list of products or buying a product or showing a product detail screen. So for all these three features, you can build three methods: show product or buy product or list products. And each method can be an endpoint in your service. So I can build a REST endpoint for all these three types of methods. And feel free to give as much detail as you want about these methods. And in this case, you can also create, talk about stuff like security, login, transactions, API authentication, all these details your interviewer might be interested in asking from you. Apart from this, in this step, there is a high probability that you need to give some code. So I generally like to use building my REST endpoint services using Spring Boot and Java, as I am comfortable in using Java, but feel free to use the language of your choice when you are doing this. Now let's cover an example of an API method. So suppose you are designing an online ticket booking app. One method can be buy tickets, which you can use to buy tickets online. So there can be other methods also, if it is an online movie app where you can go and buy tickets for movies online. There you can search for movies. So, you might be having a search box on the top of the website where you can enter the name of a movie and a list of movies show up. And that building that method, you would need an API method to bring the list of movies. So it could be a REST endpoint that could return a JSON output to you containing the list of different movies and pointed to their thumbnail images or details like that. So here let me cover the first method, buy tickets. So I'm passing some attributes here: API key, user, movie, cinema hall, seat. So these are the different attributes. The interviewer might ask you details about the attributes, whether it is an object or it is what kind of object it is. Is it a string or integer? All details like that. Here, if you see, there is another attribute here, API key, which I have added just to make sure that the person who is accessing this method, who is that user, and you can use this key to build a rate limiter on top of the method. So basically you need to get into the details of the API here and expect more questions from the interviewer. Similarly, there can be other method like search movies. Here I'm passing the search query along with the API key. API design is a very important and easy step that can show to the interviewer that you really know how to code. In most of the services that you are building, there is some sort of API you'll be working on. So it's very good to get into the depth in this and write some code on the whiteboard in front of the interviewer for this. Next, let's cover about database design. I particularly like using relational database, but if you are comfortable using NoSQL database, go for it. Use the database of your choice, but please make sure that when you are using NoSQL database, tell the reason to the interviewer why you are choosing a NoSQL database. So NoSQL database might not be suited for all the use cases that you're designing for. Also, I particularly like to use ER diagrams as they are very easy to build and they depict the database design very well to the interviewer. So I would suggest when you are building the database design in front of your interviewer, build an ER diagram. And do not put in a lot of attributes in your ER diagram. For example, if you are designing a table, just give the name of table and one or two key columns. Do not spend so much time on it that you just go overboard and you don't have time left for API design or low level design or high level design after this. So time constraint is very important here. So let's cover an example of a database design. If you're designing an e-commerce store, then the ER diagram for that can be something like this. So here, even though I have shown a lot of tables here, but essentially customer, orders, order detail, and products are the four more important tables. And if you see here, I have only covered 2 to 3 important attributes. So for example, order details, order ID, and product ID are the more important details. So order ID is linked to the person, customer ID who's placing that order, and product ID is linked to the product from where you can pull the details about the product.